Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Backman Report. Every week, my co-host Fred Altvater and I get together and check in on the world of golf to bring you the latest news, insights, analysis, interviews, recaps, previews. Hey, we cover anything and everything golf. In other words, if it happened in golf, we have it for you. Fred, hi, how are you this week?
Carlos, I'm great. Had a wonderful weekend. We traveled, my wife and I traveled over to Washington, D.C. over the weekend to spend some time with my son and his family. We returned back to northern Michigan here yesterday. The temperatures are below 50 in the 30s at night. It actually spit a little snow during the night last night. Old man winter is rapidly approaching, so we're up here in the great north. It's going to happen sooner than later, I guarantee you. Hey, Carlos, amazing weekend. Phil is 2-0 on the Champions Tour. Ohio-born Jason Kokrak got his first win on the PGA Tour after 233 starts. Plus, we're going to have a tiger sighting this week in California for the Zozo Championship. So we got a lot of golf to talk about, so let's go.
You have to always throw in an Ohio thing.
I got it.
You got it in.
There's going to be more.
All right. I trust you. I know you will. But anyway, let's get right to it. We always start with the weekend backspin, where every week we recap the weekend's action. And this weekend, there was plenty of action in the PGA Tour. You just mentioned it. The 2020 CJ Cup at Shadow Creek. The winner was Jason Kokrak, who earned his first PGA Tour victory with a victory there at Shadow Creek Golf Course in Las Vegas, Nevada. He fired a final round of 8 under 64 to win the tournament at 20 under. He held off Xander Schauflee by 2 shots. And this was a leaderboard that throughout the week, it was up and down, but it looked like Xander at the beginning, then Russell Hintley. And I would say on Sunday, I think it's Xander's tournament to lose. But it was Kokrak. I mean, that 8 under was fantastic for him. And he held off Xander Schauflee to win by 2 shots at the end. Terrell Hatton and Russell Hintley, who again was the 54-hole leader, finishing the tie for 3rd place, with Hintley needing and not getting an albatross on the final hole to force a playoff with Kokrak. So for Kokrak, finally, winner of $1.755 million. That's the winner's share of the $9.75 million purse. And he earned 68 official World Golf points to go with the win. And now he's also jumping. And so again, and we mentioned about these past few tournaments, we have seen people outside either of the 300, or Sergio was the only one that was 51 now, and other than the 50, Jason Kokrak made it. So some surprises there. A total of 7 players finished the tournament with Jason Day withdrawing on the final day. And Fred, that was the 6th event of the current, already, can we say, is 6 events on the 2020-2021 PGA Tour season?
I know, it's amazing. And I'm going to tell you exactly why Jason Kokrak won, okay? So last week, the October issue of the Ohio Golf Journal came out, right? And we had a feature story in there about Jason Kokrak. He made his 150th cut at the U.S. Open. He's had a great career. Won $13 million just in prize money. His sponsor money is probably double that. So he's had a pretty good career for 10 years in golf from Northeastern Ohio. And so we did a little story about him. 150 career starts is notable because that makes him 100% vested for the PGA Tour retirement plan, which is a big deal to touring pros, I guarantee you. So the reason he won is because we said, he's had a great career, but he's never won. And so he had to go out and say, okay, now, we gave him motivation to do that, Carlos. We're taking credit for that. High golf here and all the way, baby. But no, Kokrak shoots 74 on Sunday. Xander Schauflee, they had a nice little back and forth going there for a while, but Kokrak kind of put it on there on the back 9 and got the win. What's nice about this, Carlos, is because he earned a spot in the November Masters coming up here in a couple of weeks. because he made it into the top 30 in the FedEx Cup Championship in the playoffs, right? Now this win qualifies him for the Masters coming up in April in 4 months. So he's, you know, 5, 6 months. So yeah, he's, you know, this is a good deal for him. 1.7 million. I mean, that's a pretty nice check. And so, yeah, really good stuff. Jason Day, you mentioned him. He was playing with Schauflee and Kokrak. He had to retire on the second hole. He just couldn't go, had a neck problem. We've seen this so much with Jason Day. He's got a neck, or he's got a shoulder. He's got, you know, something going on, a back. He has a lot of physical issues. It's really unfortunate. The guy could really be a big-time winner, but just has a lot of issues. Pretty good leaderboard, Carlos. Besides Xander Schauflee, you had Terrell Hatton, who just coming off off his win. You got Joaquin Neiman in there, Justin Thomas, Colin Morikawa near the top. So really, really good tournament for names. It was really loaded. Brooks Koepka, remember him? He used to be a pretty good player. You know, back before he had all his injuries. He was in the field, finally came back to play a little bit. T28, pretty solid return. 3 good rounds. He dropped 10 spots on Sunday, though. Couldn't keep it going, had 73. Probably, you know, that's just a fatigue issue and being out of playing shape. You know, the mind wanders. It's tough to keep that concentration for 72 holes and 4 days. So he'll get that figured out, and this was probably a really good tournament for him to work that through. I want to mention too, I don't know if anybody noticed, but I'm sure everybody noticed, but the PGA Tour integrated the BetMGM odds at the CJ Cup to, you know, some people liked it, some people not so much. In August, BetMGM signed a multi-year content and marketing deal to become the official betting operator for the PGA Tour. And the CJ Cup at Shadow Creek featured live betting odds for the first time. You probably got in a few bets. You probably won a couple $1,000s just watching a tournament, Carlos. I know you probably did. There were 2 updates every hour during all 4 rounds. The leaderboards were featured with open and current odds to win, as well as odds of head-to-head matchups, top finishes, winning margins, etc. Russell Henley, who had the 54-hole lead, was the odds leader for the 4th round, followed by Xander, then Kokrak, and then Justin Thomas, who was T6, but he actually was favored by more bettors, so his odds were a little bit lower than some of the players. So, Carlos, that's about all I got on CJ Cup. Turned out I loved seeing some of the pictures from Shadow Creek Golf Club. They spent a lot of money building that place. That's a pretty nice-looking golf course for the middle of the desert.
Yeah, like you mentioned, there was a lot of names were here in this tournament. Bubba Watson was one of the big names there at T7. So it's good to see him again. We haven't talked about Bubba for the past couple of years, big time on the top of the leaderboards. Also, Ian Poulter was there, T12, Victor Hovland, T12, Matthew Fitzpatrick, your guy, Colin Morikawa, JT, all of them were T12. John Ram was T17 and Sergio Garcia was T21. Hideki also was T21. So a lot of good names. Shane Lowry, the Open champion, T28. It was a loaded field. And Jason Kokrak at the end was the one. And my final comment regarding Brooks Koepka, I have to agree. I think he just got tired at the end that last week. That last day. But again, he cannot overdo this return for him because he's had to take some time off at the last 2 times that he has come back. So if he takes it easy, you know, he knows his body, nobody better than him, but he has to take it slow. And I just think that he could have forced it, but he didn't. And this is just getting some reps in is the way that I see it for Brooks Koepka this past weekend. Now let's move on to the European Tour, where the Scottish Championship was won by Adrian Otaegi, who finished off his 3rd European Tour win at the Fairmont St. Andrews in Fife, Scotland. You know, he opened up the week very, very fast. It was 10 under 62 to set the pace, but then he closed it out on Sunday with a final round of 63. So he started good and he's finished very, very well. He was 23 under. So you can think, hey, 10 under, 12 on, 10 under to start, then a 9 under, 19. So it was like a 4 under in between. But it was enough because that was a 4-shot win over Matt Wallace. And Rye finally, after his missed cut, finished alone in third place, 17 under. So for Otaegi, he won 161,000 euros. That's the winner's purse of the winner's share of the 1 million euro share, purse. So this tournament was for the fourth tournament of the second UK swing, was not particularly strong. We talked about this and you mentioned it last week that the big names showed up, and this week it wasn't that particular, but it did feature some great players. So this week the cut was made at 1 under, 143, 69 made it through, and Otaegi now earned 335 points in the Race to Dubai standings for his win, Fred.
Yeah, but you said that. What did the winner get? 163,000 euro? Is that what they got?
161,925. Yeah.
So on the PGA Tour, they're getting 1.7 mil for the win, and they're getting 164,000 euro on a regular European Tour event. Now, it's not a Rolex series with a $7 million purse, and that's what Kieran, always says. There's really 2 European tours. There's one for the elite players, and there's one for the kind of the average guys. You didn't mention Matt Wallace. He shot 65, 67, 66 the first 3 rounds, really playing well, but he just couldn't keep it going quite on Sunday. Ended up bogeying number 1. Otaegi made birdie, so he lost the overnight lead and dropped another shot at 8, so he ends up finishing second. Rye, who won just a couple of weeks ago, another good finish for him. So maybe he's going to start popping up on leaderboards a little bit more often as well. But yeah, they kind of just threw this event in. They got it there in Scotland to where the guys were close there, and they could kind of keep them together and have a little tournament because it replaced some of the other ones that they had to cancel. So it's write it off to COVID, Carlos. They're just tickled to death to be playing, I guess.
Most definitely. Hey, but again, we see the same names, and we can agree at least that there's some players that are like ready to take it to that next level, and those are the ones that we're seeing in this type of tournaments there in the European Tour. Now let's talk about the Champions Tour, where we saw this not long ago. Jim Furyk won his first 2. He was 2 for 2. And we say, well, let's see how he goes. But now he's come down to earth. But the latest one is Phil Mickelson. He's only a 3rd player to win his first 2 tournaments in the Champions Tour. Last one, like mentioned now, it was Jim Furyk. But, it was a Sunday Southpaw skirmish in the final round there at the Dominion Energy Classic. And the Mandico lefty, Phil Mickelson, emerged victorious. He was playing just his second PGA Tour Champions event after winning his debut back in August, and he outdueled fellow Master champion Mike Weir at the Country Club of Virginia James River Course in Richmond, winning the 54-hole event at 17 under. And let me tell you, it was an impressive 7 under par final round. All 3 rounds were played on the weekend due to the excessive rain on Friday. So, the 50-year-old senior circuit rookie entered Sunday play 3 strokes behind Weir and got off to a hot start, just like he likes it. Make birdie on 4 of his opening 7 holes. He took a 1-shot lead with par after Weir made a bogey, extended the lead to 2. But then, that tapping birdie at number 16 moved him to 16 under for the tournament, and he never looked back, Fred. Ended the week with a birdie at number 18. So to him, Fred, he said it was fun to see playing with Mike Weir. He played back in the day with him. So again, he joins now Bruce Fleischer and Jim Furyk as the only players to win their first 2 starts on the senior tour. This is sort of the preparation that Phil Mickelson is doing for the Masters, and it looks, Fred, it's looking very good so far.
Yeah, we talked about last week, why would he skip Shadow Creek, a course that he's done pretty well on and he knows, and he's still very competitive on the regular tour, and go play a senior tour event or a Champions Tour event? Well, he was actually asked that question. And number 1, he said, well, I wanted to avoid a letdown. And, he won $9 million or whatever it was on the Shadow Creek course. And so And also, he said this is the start of his Masters preparations with a focus on accurate driving and competitive fitness. And so he felt like that's what he could get a better handle on at this golf course and on the Champions Tour. So that's kind of why he did that. He does plan to return to the PGA Tour next week. Actually, he's in the Zozo Championship we're going to talk about here in a minute at Sherwood out in California. And then take a week off, and he's going to play in Houston as his final preparation for the Masters on November 12th through the 15th. So Phil's got a plan, and if everything goes to plan, he'll be competing against Tiger in the final group at the Masters in November. Carlos?
That would be something. But anyway, let's talk now about the Symetra Tour. You know, Matilda Castren was the winner. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, Matilda Castren is from Finland. She now lives in San Diego, California. 25 years old, qualified for the Symetra Tour in 2018 versus the 2017 Q School. This has been her best year by far, with 3 events played and 3 cuts made. She's got almost $34,000, 1 victory and 2 top 50s. So she was All-American at Florida State, played her collegiate golf there, a 3-time All-ACC selection. She made 7 cuts in 13 starts last year on the Symetra Tour. So she plays along, but she just had it all going on this weekend, ends up winning. And she's also, we're going to talk about it here in a minute, she's in the field for this week's Drive-On Championship down at Reynolds Lake Oconee, Carlos.
Most definitely. And now tell us also about the Senior PGA Championship, please.
Yeah, I had a couple good friends down there actually playing in this that qualified in the Northern Ohio PGA section event. Unfortunately, they didn't do that well, but another guy from Ohio did. Omar Yaresti is a 51-year-old PGA Life member from Austin, Texas. Played a long time on the PGA Tour. He ended up winning this thing, and if you remember, in the past, he has caught in grief from the club pros for playing in these events because he's a former tour pro. But you know what? He's just a club pro now, and he's a life member. He can play in them if he's won. He's qualified. So built up a 6-shot lead through 54 holes. Found things weren't quite as cozy on Sunday, but still held off Scott Herbert from Traverse City, right up the road here from where I'm at. Paul Stankowski, there's a name we remember from his PGA Tour days, shot a 68, shared 3rd with 2018 champion Bob Sowards from Dublin, Ohio. Sowards has just had a phenomenal couple years. It seems like every senior tournament event he plays in, he's up in the top 5 someplace. He's the head pro at Kinsale Golf Club in Dublin, just north and very close to Muirfield Village, actually, and one heck of a player. He wins everything in Ohio, and when he plays nationally and these kind of things, he still does really, really well. Also got to mention, Carlos, that good friend Jeff Roth, who is right up here from Boyne Academy, Golf Academy right up here in Boyne that we talk about all the time. He finished T28. He's going to earn a trip to the Senior PGA at Southern Hills next year at Tulsa, Oklahoma. So just a quick word, PGA Golf Club was the host last week at Port St. Lucie. They played on the Wanamaker course and on the Ryder course. Love both those, really like the Ryder course a lot. They've hosted 13 senior PGA professional championships since 2001, and they haven't seen much more of a domination than what Omar Yaresti put on last week, Carlos.
And with that, we wrap up our weekend backspin. And now we're going to tell you about what's going to happen this upcoming weekend on the Forecall. And there's a couple of tournaments that we want to talk about. The first one is the Zozo Championship. They're going to be playing it at Sherwood Country Club. That's in Thousand Oaks, California. And the winner will take $1.44 million with an $8 million purse. The defending champions, Tiger Woods, your FedEx Cup leaders, Bryson DeChambeau. And Tiger is finally competing for the first time since missing the cut at the U.S. Open. His last title came at last year's Zozo Championship in Japan when he claimed his 82nd career tour win to tie Sam Snead's all-time record. Woods won the Hero World Challenge 5 times at Sherwood, which held the event from 2000 to 2013. So this is a course that he's familiar with. Did that have anything to do with the movement from Japan to Sherman Oaks due to the coronavirus pandemic? Of course it did. Of course it did. So, world's number one, Dustin Johnson, will miss his second consecutive event since testing positive for the COVID-19. He holds the course record at Sherwood of 61. I was looking forward to see if he was going to try to play, but hey, he can't. It's going to be limited field, 78 player field, includes several notable sponsors exemptions. Again, look, last week we talked about sponsors exemptions. Ricky Fowler, Phil Mickelson, Jordan Spieth, Tommy Fleetwood, and Justin Rose. Those are sponsors exemptions. Those players should just get into the tournament. Why are you telling me those are sponsors exemptions? I maybe you can answer that for me, but I don't know. And finally, Colin Morikawa and Matthew Wolff will make their tournament debuts as well. So your guy and my guy are going here head to head. So we'll see how it goes. It seems like it's going to be a very nice tournament, very good course to play. So how about the Zozo Championship?
Yeah, there's only 78 players in this event, in this field. So it's a pretty select field. And I know I was like you, and I'm looking through the sponsors exemptions. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. These are top flight players. They should be able to get any field they want to get into. So, you say that Tiger won here 5 times, right? Well, he was also runner-up 5 times out of 12 starts. So 10 times out of 12 times they had the Hero World Championship challenge there. He either won or was runner-up 10 of the 12 times. So yeah, he's got a pretty good feel for this golf course, I think. Like you say, we haven't seen him since the U.S. Open where he missed a cut. Given the type of year it's been, and he's only played in a handful of events, I can't expect much from him. However, he does know this course. California is his original home, and he may just be ready to get back after his long layoff. He might be ready to play. He might be fresh, and he might be healthy, and maybe he'll just tear this thing up. Anything Tiger does not surprise me. I know he's just getting ready for the Masters. I know this is just a warm-up event for him. I know they held it at Sherwood, brought it from Japan here so they could get Tiger in the field because he said he probably wouldn't play anyplace else. So I understand all that, but still it's great to have Tiger out there playing and curious to see how he gets along. Hideki was runner-up in this thing last year. Your guy Hideki, remember? So he's in the field. Several Japanese players are making the trip over to play as well. And I'm surprised you didn't say anything about Takumi Kanaya, who will play his first PGA Tour event as a pro. We talked about that a couple of years ago. He was the #1 amateur in the world. He decided to turn professional, and this is his first event, getting real money for playing. It's going to be on TV Thursday through Sunday, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. So if you can slip it in between some football there, you want to watch. Hey, the Big Ten starts this weekend, Carlos. Ohio State, Nebraska, Michigan's playing. We got real football this weekend. And guess what? The World Series starts tonight. I meant to open that mention that in the opening. We got Tampa Bay and we got the LA Dodgers. Who you like in the World Series?
Don't mention that. My Atlanta Braves lost to the Dodgers, so
they did.
I'm gonna go.
They had him down 2-0. They had him down.
They had him down 3-1. 3-1. So and they were winning the 7th game. I want Tampa to win because the Dodgers just eliminated
the Dodgers.
Can't give it to them. I mean, my Lakers won the NBA championship, so I'm happy with that, But I thought we were going to do it also on the baseball with my Atlanta Braves. But hey, that's a young team for the future. This is not something tells me we're going to see Braves Dodgers for a few more years to come. So we'll see.
The Braves I was impressed with how well the Braves played. I thought they were going to take the Dodgers out. But, they dug down and got it done. Hey, you mentioned the NBA, and poor old LeBron says he just can't get any respect. I can't understand that, but feel bad for poor LeBron. He's only making 30 mil a year, or whatever he makes. So
yeah, poor Bron. Poor Bron. He doesn't get respect. I'm going to call him Rodney Dangerfield from now on.
There you go. Get no respect. How about respect?
No respect at all. No respect at all. But anyway, let's talk about now the women's. The LPGA Drive-On Championship at Reynolds Lake Oconee is going to be this weekend. It's an inaugural event. The race to the CME Globe leader right now is Daniel Kang. And this event, we talked about it, it was added to the schedule last month when the LPGA canceled the BMW Ladies Championship in South Korea and the Toto Japan Classic due to the travel restrictions and quarantine requirements. So not unlike the PGA Tour that moved those tournaments to the States, the LPGA is just putting some new tournaments in here. Now, 6 of 12 winners on the LPGA Tour this year are in the field. Kim leads the tour right now in scoring average and greens in regulation. Inbee Park leads the official money list. Daniel Kang is the only 2-time winner on tour this year. The average age of winners, Fred, and this is what I wanted to talk about last week. I didn't have the number. I've been saying it's taking a turn on the LPGA for the higher now. It's 28.69. So it's been going up since a few years back. It was just over 23. It has gone up all the way to 28.69. And we keep seeing Inbee Park, Stacey Lewis, the veterans are the ones that are now taking over the tour. Will it happen again in this tournament, Fred?
There's a lot of young women playing in this. It has a nice field, but it has a lot of younger players and some Symmetric Tour players as well. So odds are that someone a little younger may win this thing. We heard Dave Short talk last week about the renovations to the Great Waters course, and I think our listeners are going to be excited to see it on their television screens. I've had the opportunity to play it a couple different occasions, and it does not disappoint. The renovations that Nicklaus completed last year made the course even better. He shaved off a couple hills, so it brought the views of the lake in better as you're playing down the course. It's a wonderful piece of property. You've got 108 players in the field competing for a 1.3 million purse. They had to limit to 108 players because later in the year you got less daylight, so you got to be able to get everybody around the golf course. You've got, as you mentioned, 7 of the winners of the 2020 event. You got Gabby Lopez, Stacy, Sophia Popov, Austin Ernst, Mel Reed, and Daniel Kang in there. Also competing are Minji Lee, Lexi Thompson, Julie Inkster's making a start, Aria Jutanagar, Hannah Green, Brittany Linscomb. So, Lydia Ko, Morgan Presley. So there's some pretty good names in here, right? So it should be a good tournament to watch. You can catch all 4 days on the Golf Channel, 1 to 4 Eastern time. Here's a little known fact for you, Carlos. I dug this up today. They hosted the Big Break here, the women's Big Break in 2014, and 3 of the contestants went on to become LPG Tour members. I won't embarrass you by asking the question who they are, but they're Jorina Pilar, Ryan O'Toole, and Jackie Stolsting. I think at least 2 of those have won tournaments on the LPGA Tour. So, so some of the ladies are familiar with the golf course. The only thing else about this, Carlos, is that there's only a few events now remaining on the 2020 LPGA Tour schedule. After this week, the tour returns to Pelican Women's Championship presented at Bel Air, Florida. And the week before Thanksgiving, followed by the Volunteers of America Classic at the Colony in Texas, December 3 through 6. And then we still got the U.S. Women's Open at Champions Club in Houston, December 10 through 13. Then the CME Group Tour Championship in Naples right before Christmas. So getting down to the end here for the Ladies Tour. We're going to have a big break after this week for a few weeks. But should be a good tournament to watch, Carlos.
It should be. And with that, we wrap up our forecall or the preview for this weekend's action. Now, Fred, tell us a little bit about Boeing.
I don't think we mentioned the Italian Open, did we? I don't think we mentioned that.
Maybe we missed it, but if
Yeah, I'll just mention real quick. Burton Wiesberger is the defending champion. Matt Wallace is in the field coming off his top 25 at the BMW PGA 2 weeks ago, and then his runner-up finished last week in Scotland, so he's somebody to watch. Last week's winner, Adrian Otaegui, will play. Homeboy, he's going to play with Eduardo Molinari, who's an Italian, and then Jason Scribner. Lee Westwood's in the field. He's playing with another Italian, Renato Paratore, and Martin Keimer's in the field again. Boy, Martin's playing a lot of golf in Europe, so hopefully he's getting this thing put together. He's going to be ready to get back to the top. I really want to talk about this, Carlos, because the Italian Open has been around for a long time. I think like 74 years or something like that. And who doesn't remember Ian Poulter winning here in 2000 for the first of his 12 European titles? I know that's fresh in your memory. In 2006, Francesco Molinari won his first European title in the Italian Open, and then he won it again in 2016. So then he now blew off and moved off to LA. Ciao, baby. I had to get a word in there about the Italian Open, Carlos. Sorry about that.
Sorry, I skipped it. I just checked the outline, and for some reason, the LPGA just caught my eye first.
You're just ready. You're ready to go. Hey, the days to play golf at Boyne in 2020 are rapidly coming to a close, but that just means it's time to book your golf vacation for 2021 right now. Boyne is offering great savings for early reservations. With 10 courses all within a short driving distance from each other, get your buddies' trip together and make your 2021 golf getaway plans right now, plus save a few bucks in the process. Visit boyne.com/golf today. Tell them Back Nine Report sent you. Carlos, back to you.
All right, and with that, we wrap up our forecall, and now let's move on to the Par 5 news. We have five pieces of news that are worth mentioning, and the first one, I don't know how to say this, but anyway, it's a move in the right direction. Let's put it that way, because the PGA Tour keeps creaking back towards some level of normalcy, and next month that will include fans. I hope they don't cancel that, but it's going to be, albeit a limited number of them. The Houston Open tournament officials have announced that they will allow a limited number of fans on the course for all 4 rounds. I better get to Houston, I think. It's going to be November 5 to the 8th at Memorial Park Golf Course. Beginning Wednesday, October 1st, the tournament officials will put 2,000 daily tickets up for sale on the tournament's website. It's that if you want to go, hey, HoustonOpenGolf.com. That's where it is. The daily ticket cost will be $79 for Thursday's opening round and $109 a day for Friday through Sunday. Food and beverage is covered cleverly through the ticket purchases too. So there you have it. More details on that. Each ticket will include food and beverage from these designated on-course venues. Sorry, alcohol is not included. Sorry, it's not there. But anyway, the tickets will be color-coded to correspond with the grab-and-go food and beverage pickup locations. Very clever. Very, very clever. The tickets will not be sold on site. So don't get there and try to say, I want one of the tickets. I mean, it's going to be sold out immediately. That's I tell you, it's going to take 10 minutes to be sold out. 2,000 tickets, come on. Online.
It won't take 10 minutes.
It won't take that long. Nor will there be a will call area for the tickets to be dropped off. So don't even think about it. They have all the safety precautions. They will be still in play at the Memorial Park with all the fans, volunteers, and essential personnel expected to wear masks. We're in Texas. Here's mandated to wear it all times on the property, except when eating or drinking. Some tour stops already have allowed a very limited number of sponsors fans. A limited number of fans will also be in attendance at the Bermuda Championship the week before the Houston stop. So it seems like it's going to be at least two in a row that we're going to see, Fred, some fans there. The Houston Open originally was scheduled for November 12th to 15th, but was bumped up a week when the Masters was rescheduled for those dates. The event returns to Memorial Park Golf Course for the first time since 1963. And Fred, finally, because of its week before the Masters date, the Houston Open will draw some of the world's top players that want to try to get ahead some more reps and those some final preparations before getting there. So far, we have confirmed that world number one, Dustin Johnson, of course, he will need it after these 2 weeks with COVID-19. He will be there. Bruce Koepka will be there. Jason Day and Ricky Fowler, all four have committed. At least those four big names are going to be there, Fred.
Yeah, 2,000 fans on a golf course. We've talked about this before. How can you tell if there's any fans are there? Yeah, I mean, that's nothing, right? That's, 100, just a little over 100 on every hole, for goodness sake. That's nothing. So now you're telling me that the opening day is $79 for Thursday. It's $109 a day. That's over $500 for the 4 rounds to see a PGA Tour event. But you do get food, right? That's a good deal. So eat all the hot dogs you can chow down. I'm sure they're delicious. You know what? I think I'll take a pass on that, though, Carlos. I'm not going to spend $500 to go watch those guys play. Sorry. The tour hasn't allowed any spectators since the 13-week break. So clear back in when they were at the Players Championship, when they had to shut things down. Been no fans out there. This is the first time since 1963 that the Memorial Park is hosting this event. So that should be kind of cool to see that place. I think it's a public golf course. I think they only charge like $30 or $35 to play it, I was reading. So that's kind of cool. You get to play that golf course for $35, and they're hosting a big time tournament. That doesn't happen too often. I guess that's about all I got for that, Carlos. I was surprised that, I guess they got to start somewhere, and I guess 2,000 fans is better than no fans. But I know we've talked about this ad nauseum before, but boy, it just seems like nothing to me. So,
well, I mean, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's all about be careful. It's okay. There's some liabilities as well. You don't want to be the one to say, okay, I'm just going to shut down again because this happened or it was my fault or anything else. So I'm okay. I mean, 2,000, yeah, it's not enough. It's not much. But again, at least we're starting to see back-to-back weeks that we're going to see some sort of fans in a golf tournament, and hopefully continues, and they can start just bringing more back. But we'll see. Now, moving on to the next piece of news, it is with a lot of regret that the Australian golf industry announced that this summer's premier events, the Australian PGA Championship, the Australian Open, and the Women's Australian Open, have been canceled. When I said this, a coworker of mine told me, what? They can't wait until next summer? And I told him, look, I'm sorry to tell you, it's summer coming right now in Australia. It's totally different what you're talking about. So anyway, no, it's just around the corner. And the PGA of Australia Chief Executive Gavin Kirkman, the LPG Chief Executive Kieran Lund, and Golf Australia Executive James Sutherland confirmed all 3 events, which were to have been played in February, won't proceed because of the global pandemic. So, Fred, I know it's still a lot of time for February. A raft of measures were considered, including players entering a hub and competing while serving strict quarantine period, as well as restrict crowd numbers, movements as well, how to manage the traffic. But all options were unviable for them. So
yeah, we always talk about the Australian tournaments, especially the Aussie Open, the Australian PGA, and then the Australian Women's Open is one of the first events of the year on the LPGA Tour. So it's always a big deal down there. It always gets a pretty good field to start out the year. And so it's unfortunate. The Australian Open for the men dates back to 1904. Past winners included Gene Sayers and Gary Player won it 5 times. Arnold Palmer, Peter Thompson, Jack Nicklaus won it 6 times. Greg Norman 5. Adam Scott, Jordan Spieth has won it a couple times. So back when he used to win tournaments, back when he could still play a little bit. No, it's Australian Open. They play in the Sandbelt down there. They play on great golf courses, and it's unfortunate, but that's just the times. That's what we're seeing. Also, Carlos, there was another cancellation announced this week. The Hero World Challenge, normally held in early December and hosted by Tiger and his TGR Foundation, has been canceled due to travel restrictions caused by the pandemic. Certainly, this is an understandable outcome for an event hosted by an international sponsor and played in the Bahamas now. Mark Steinberg said there were some discussions about playing the tournament in Florida, but the bigger issue was the travel of the Hero Motor Corp executives from India to the United States, and the quarantining and all the stuff that has to go through. So they just decided to go ahead and cancel that for this year. So it'll be back on the schedule next year, but it's a siren hour for this year, Carlos.
Most definitely. I mean, the impacts of COVID-19, most notably, like you mentioned, in assembling international fields and ensuring the safety of players, spectators, and officials, have forced these decisions. And unfortunately, it will be the first time since 1945, the final year of the Second World War II, that the Men's Open will not be staged there in Australia, and the first time since 1995 that the PGA will be missed. It's the first time since the 2006 that the Women's Open will not be contested. Now let's move on to the next piece of news. And I remember when Rory McIlroy started to say, "Hey, Bryson DeChambeau, I don't think so. I'm not going for that." Then he started like, well, maybe, it works for him. He might know something we don't know. Now he's apparently going to try it. He's going to try to follow up on Bryson DeChambeau's method of adding speed. Now, how, Fred, is that going to work out for him? What is he looking for? Is this the start of what, since now it's been proven that Bryson, his method translates to major championships, and we see now Rory, is this the start of a new trend? Will we see more players joining in the revolution?
That's the kindest form of flattery, when you want to follow whatever the lead dog's doing there, what he's doing. So no, they're all going to try it. They're going to try to swing harder without question. Rory says, I don't know that I'm going to maybe necessarily do that all the time, but if he really wants to rear back and let one fly, he's going to try and give it a go. So, they're trying to get their swing speeds from, the average pro is like 125, 130, something like that now. He's trying to get it up to 135, maybe 140. Somewhere in that ballpark, that will pick him up an extra, 10 yards or 15 yards maybe if he really, really, really needs it. Justin Thomas, I thought, had some words of wisdom. He said, I want some more speed, and I feel like I've been having another good year, and I've got another gear in there, maybe another 5-10 yards if I need it, but I don't necessarily have that other 20. So, he's kind of working to try to get that. He said, I'm not going to put on 40 pounds. I don't have the height to do that. He's going to look like a beach ball if he does that. So he's not going to do that. He's working with other parts of his body to maybe get a little bit stronger and maybe have a little bit more flexibility to gain a little distance. And he said, if there's a way I can use that to my advantage, that's great. But he said at the end of the day, he's more concerned about avoiding injury than he is picking up an extra 5 to 10 yards. And so, we've talked about that, and I got to give kudos to Justin Thomas for saying that. You know, he's been off. He had to sit out for about 6 months with a hand injury. So he understands what that injury means to him. You know, lost income, sitting at home. You know, you're not getting any younger, even though it's only 6 months. These guys only have they only got maybe an 8-10 year window. So if you sit out 6 months, that's a big deal. And if you're hampered by a shoulder injury or hampered by a bad back or hampered by, you know, something else, it affects your play and your scoring. So I thought that was really a wise statement that he made. And to see Rory and some of these other guys try to swing a little harder, maybe bulk up a little more, I still say with a word of caution, be careful that you don't start injuries.
I think that's the biggest question mark so far in Bryson's method. Yes, right now he has the speed, he has the power, he has the distance, has the win. So he has the results, he has a major win. Now, how long is that going to last? Because what we have seen so far is that anybody that has tried some sort of those tricep enhancements is not something that has been proven that is a long-term benefit. Will it be? We don't know. This is Bryson's method is a new thing, new charted waters there. And that's why I think a lot of these players are taking it with a salt of grain, whether they do that or not. But I can't agree anymore with JT. Definitely, that's what people should try to avoid injury. That's what we see. Look at Jason Day, what's happening. I mean, such a great player, having to go through what he goes through and not being able to challenge again and be the world's number one like he was. And we've seen it with Tiger as well. See what happens now with him. We're just hoping that he can get back. He can spend a couple of months in a row playing before he gets hurt. I mean, he takes the course, and the first thing that I'm thinking about is, he's going to get hurt. He twitched wrong. Is he okay? If he gets in the rough, oh my God, that can hurt him. That's the kind of things that really the golf players should be worrying about. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Definitely. This is just the start of seeing how things could be if people follow Bryson or not. But anyway, Fred, we talked about last week about Tyrrell Hatton's hoodie and the golf club there in England sending the letter to their membership. Don't even think about using one. Here is prohibited. What's the big deal? I mean, is it because it wasn't raining? Is it because it wasn't cold? Is it because they're envious? I mean, he looked really weird. But anyway, what's going on with his hoodie and Tyrrell Hatton?
Well, you know, country clubs can get to be a bit stuffy and, you know, wrapped up in their traditions of golf and all these kind of things. So I think some of these old boys took a look at that and said, oh, we can't have that on our golf course. So, yeah, you know, he was surprised that just wearing the hoodie has stirred up as much controversy as it has. I mean, there he was in Las Vegas in 90-degree heat, and they're asking about wearing a hoodie. You know, probably Las Vegas is not the place to be doing that out there in the sun. But, you know, I can see when you're over in the cold and the wind's blowing over in Europe the way it does, or, you know, even up here in the north in Ohio and Michigan, you know, it's not pleasant out there sometimes. You wish you had something on your neck or the back of your head. You know, a stocking cap or a hat just doesn't really kind of get it. So, you know, I don't know that I'm going to be doing that anytime soon, Carlos. But maybe, I don't know, who knows? You know, I used to have an old sweatshirt, an old Ohio State sweatshirt that had a hood on it. And I would love to sit on the couch in the evening and put that hood up and pull it down and just kind of like get in a little cocoon, you know. But that's just laying on the couch. I don't know about playing golf with it or trying to see. I think it limits your vision too much. But, you know, he was kind of surprised. But, you know, that's what the media, they'll ask you about anything. So they're still talking about the hoodie that Tyrrell Hatton wore over in London.
You know, the funny thing is that last week, that was the most trending piece of golf gear all week. So I don't get it. But anyway, talking about merchandise, the Masters, we talk about, it
You're
was
not going to see any
announced,
hoodies. You're not going to see any hoodies at the Masters. I at Augusta National. I guarantee you, Carlos.
not even green hoodies.
No, you're not gonna.
Oh,
You're gonna see them on the course. You might. They might be selling some sweatshirts. I don't think you're gonna. I don't think you can buy a hooded sweatshirt at Augusta National. I'm not sure. I have to check on that. But you're not gonna see them on the golf course. I guarantee you.
well, let's check when the merchandise goes online, because finally they're gonna have that merchandise online. You
Not for
don't
you and
have
me,
to.
though. Not for you
No,
and me.
no.
No.
Uh, I um.
Unless you got patrons tickets, unless you got tickets to go, that's the only people can go online and buy. You got to have tickets, and you can only buy 2 items. So we're still out, Carlos.
So tell me the story then. I was about to get ready to be one of the first right there, and I had my credit card ready. What happened? What is it?
You're not one of the privileged few, buddy. Sorry, you're a nobody. As far as Augusta National concerns, you're a non-entity. They don't want your money. They don't need your money.
All right. So tell us the story about
back
that.
in August, they announced that they're gonna take the merchandise online, because they're not gonna have any patrons there, no fans for the Masters in November. But they still, they know people wanted some merchandise, and they've been bugging them for years about doing some online sales. So they said, okay, we'll do that. And of course, they don't want to miss out on an opportunity to make a few bucks. I've told you about this before, Carlos. I've stood there outside that merchandise building. The new merchandise building has 64 cash registers in there, and they're all lined up 10, 12 deep, every one of them. And people carrying bags out. And these bags are they've got probably thousands of dollars of stuff in them. So I mean, their cash register is just ringing, dinging. It's unbelievable. So they don't want to miss out on all that money. So they decided they're going to have some online sales, but there's a catch with Masters, with the Augusta National. It's always got to be a catch. They got to control it somehow. They just can't help themselves. They got to control it. You can only buy merchandise if you have tickets to the event. If you were issued a ticket, then you can buy, but you only are allowed 2 orders each. So I don't know if that means you can buy a hat and a shirt, or if you can all in one order, you can get like 5 items, and another item, you can get another 5 or 10 items. I'm not sure about that, but only 2 orders each, and you got to have a ticket to buy online. So, yeah. And the other thing I want to mention, Carlos, was that I saw some of the most recent drone footage of Augusta National the last couple of days with the overseeding. Now it's filled in. It looks absolutely amazing with the colorful leaves and the firmer conditions for fall. This Masters is going to have a completely different feel, a little different look. Might be a little firmer and faster, so might be playing a little bit shorter than normal. So yeah, the Masters is still making news, even though we're still 3 or 4 weeks away.
And with that, we wrap up our Par 5 news. And now we get ready to the VIG, the very important guest of the week. We have Tommy Moore, the Director of Instruction at Firestone. He's going to talk about the 3 courses and the new stay and play option for this iconic golf facility. And Fred, you were there and you interviewed him. So tell us a little bit about this interview that we're going to see now.
Well, I talked to you about it a couple of weeks ago. Being at Firestone was really, a bucket list item. Getting to play the historic South course was really a treat. But then also playing the North course and the West course, and I really have wanted to play the West course. I've seen that, and it really looked amazing, and it really is amazing. I love that golf course. I really want to go back and play it again. If I go back to Firestone, I want to play the West course more than I want to play the South course, to be quite honest with you. Really, really like that golf course a lot. And so Tommy's going to talk about that, the 3 courses there, and some of the things you can look for there if you get to go over there. There you go.
Hey, Golfaholics, we are here at historic Firestone Country Club right outside of Akron, Ohio, and we are happy to have with us Tommy Moore, who is the Director of Golf here at Firestone now. And Tommy, we just got done playing all 3 courses over the last 3 days, and I have to tell you, the variety of golf here is outstanding, and I don't think people really realize that.
No, I get feedback all the time about all 3 golf courses after somebody's had an opportunity to stay and play. And the 3 are very unique. And if you took them individually and you just picked one of the 18 out and you moved it somewhere else in the country and you put a clubhouse around it and you put a pool and you put some tennis, I would guarantee you that any of the 3 golf courses would have a waiting list to join. So standalone, they're outstanding. Together, it's perfection, all 3 golf courses.
Of course, everybody at home has seen Tiger Woods and Jack Nicklaus and all the pros playing the WGC on the South Course and all the, 67 tournaments that have been played on the South Course over the years. And people want to come and play that iconic golf course. But the North Course and the West Course, when people come to play, I think they're going to be pleasantly surprised at the variety of golf and the quality of golf there.
Absolutely. Our West Course, our Fazio designed course, is user-friendly off the tee. We've played it together. So ample room for your tee shots, only to be exceeded by outstanding approach shots and a tricky, sneaky green complex on all 18 out there on the west. Now the north is my favorite because you have to move it left to right, you have to move it right to left, you've got to hit it high, you've got to bring it in low, and I think it's got to probably have the best 6 holes around a body of water that I've seen in a long time.
Well, you make a really good point. So the north does have a little more water over there, and it's in the valley. Of course, it's in the low area, and you've got holes playing across it, going out, coming back to it, and then when you go back out again on the back 9, you play over it, and you come back to it again for the last couple of holes. 17, that iconic Peninsula Green, probably a lot of people have seen that. That's a pretty cool hole. And then 18, playing, you got to drive over the water and then play along and skirt along on the right side coming back to the green.
Yep, 17 on the north. It's iconic, but it's also my favorite shot. You're over a body of water. It's surrounded on 3 sides. Like you said, it's a peninsula. There's a very small area to walk up to that green. So when you're over there, it's a daunting tee shot. And you've just got to commit, make sure you make a good move at it, and hopefully you're getting it on the green. 18's outstanding for a 5-par. It is just, you've got to drive it over a body of water, and then you're not safe because then you've got to come over a small creek to getting to the green. So that risk and reward shot even plays more greatly in your mind because should I lay up, play it safe, or can I go for it? So they're 2 great finishing holes right around the same body of water.
Let's talk for a minute about the West. You alluded to the fact that Tom Fazio is pretty much known for his bunker work and his green complexes, and he really did a marvelous job over on the West Course. Just every hole is a delight.
Thank you. I feel the same way. I think it's visually pleasing to the eye. Every single hole, when I'm with people here for the first time and they're playing the West, everybody stops for a little bit on a tee. Sometimes I forget that and I just hit my shot and I continue to my cart and I find myself 20, 30, 40 feet ahead of them, and when I look back, they're just on the tee admiring things, and I'm taking it for granted already on how beautiful every shot is. I think what's really great is once you've completed the hole, if you just take a moment from the green and you look back to the tee, it's amazing. You see the hole completely different. From the tee to the green, you see exactly what Fazio wanted you to see, but when you turn around and you take a time or a moment to look from the green back, it's amazing. The hole looks completely different.
Yeah, we were talking about number 5, the bunker complex there through the fairway and up to the green. It's just standing on the tee looking at it. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Yes, it is, and that's one of the holes. When you're on the tee, you say, "Oh my goodness, boy, there's a lot of bunkers out there." And then when you finish the hole, you putt out. When you turn around, standing right on the green, and you look back, you can't see a single bunker. It's very unique and it's fun. It really is.
Let's talk just a minute about the new stay and play program that you're going here. Firestone has always been private, and so not a lot of people have had the opportunity to play here over the years, but you're opening that up now with a stay and play option. So, and you have, I think, 87 rooms of property, places that you can stay here in property. There's rooms in the clubhouse, there's condos, there's all kinds of different opportunities. And the stay and play is a great place for buddies trips, or if you want to bring the family or something like come over, you get to play these 3 iconic courses and see this facility.
Yeah, we are very excited heading into next season to be able to offer this. I think it's super important to understand that we're still a private club with memberships, but with limited opportunity for stay and play options, as opposed to, well, Pro, what's the difference? Well, the difference would be a resort with members, and we know their names, and there's many of those in the United States. However, we're still staying grounded in our roots, and that is that we are a private club with members, but we are offering these limited opportunities now for stay and play, and we are so excited to share Firestone with the rest of the world.
You can see over my shoulder here the iconic water tower with the Firestone logo on it. Everybody in the world has seen that. We're looking also, the clubhouses in the background here. The first tee is right over our shoulder. We've got some of the pros from around Ohio here today playing in the Ohio Cup. You've got groups coming in here all the time, different tournaments going on. If people want to do this, they need to start booking it right now for next year.
Yes, they do. We're going to ride the momentum. When we phased out, it's been a very difficult year for everybody in the country, obviously, and the golf industry in particular with the pandemic that went on. We are so happy and excited about the momentum that we have now, and now it's continuing into next season. The bookings are already happening. We've got people already set up for June, July, August stays. Yeah, the Bridgestone's coming back here. We've got to make sure that we have opportunities around that tournament. So heading into next season, I think we're as excited as it's ever been here at Firestone.
Well, Tommy, we have absolutely enjoyed our 3 days here. This has been a bucket list stop for a long, long time. Of course, I've been here when the WGCs are here. WGCs have been here to see the courses and to get to play them and spend some time with you and Jay. It's been a wonderful couple days, and I look forward to getting back over here again.
Thank you. It's our pleasure. We're so happy we can have you here. Thank you.
Hey, Golfaholics, we are here.
And with that, we wrap up the interview, Fred. So envious, man. I can't. That's all I can say. I wish I could have been there or go someday. I'll make it into my bucket list, definitely.
Yeah, it's worth a while. Like I say, I'd been there several times, and you walk around the property and think, oh man, this would be great to get to play here sometime, and to actually get to go and do it. Something we failed to mention in that is that the food there is pretty good as well. They fed us really well, and anybody that goes and does the stay and play, the accommodations are fantastic, and the food is out of this world. So it's a home run, that's for sure.
Most definitely. With that, we wrap up the VIG, and now let's move on to the practice range. And Fred, we're going to keep talking about Firestone, so lead off the practice range for us.
It got me thinking a little bit. I get to talk to a lot of golf course owners and managers and things like that, and with a course like Firestone that has been a private club for so long, finally opening its doors, we kind of got to wondering, what if other exclusive private clubs did the same? So let me give you a scenario, Carlos. So let's say that, let's just take Firestone, for example, and the South Course. And your charity or your company wants to have an outing there, okay? And you're going to bring in 144 golfers, and you're going to pay the fee for what it is. You're going to pay for the food and all that thing. So when they get all said and done, they're going to close down that whole golf course for the whole day. So members aren't going to be able to play it, but they're going to make probably about 14 grand or somewhere in that ballpark for the day. Now, let's say that they have a stay and play option, and they bring a group of 16 guys. Now I have to say, I have to qualify this. This is not your average buddies trip, right? This is a high-end kind of deal. It's expensive. If you want to go stay and play, it is expensive. But you can take 16. They'll let 16 guys come in there, and those 16 guys are going to only take up 4 tee times every day. So the members can still play before, after, whatever. There's still plenty of time, no problem. They could have another tournament going on, something else. 16 guys, they're going to get tee times on all 3 golf courses. They're going to get food for a couple of days. They're going to drink some beer. They're going to drink some booze. They're going to spend some money. They're going to buy stuff in the pro shop. 16 guys, They had a group of 16 guys in there that spent 16 grand for being there for 3 days. They didn't have to close down a golf course. They didn't have to inconvenience members. It's a no-brainer for the club. Firestone is owned by Club Corp. So if you're a member of Club Corp, you can go around and play other golf courses. Firestone is one of their premium properties, a premier property. So you have to pay a little bit more if you wanted to go there. But with the stay and play option, like I say, you can go and do this. Other clubs could open up. Now, you've got some of these ultra exclusive clubs like Oakmont, Seminole, the National Club, Crystal Downs, Cypress Point, Pasatiempo. They could generate a few extra bucks, not inconvenience their members, and do this kind of thing. So I don't know if we're going to see other clubs open up and do that or not, but even some of the lesser clubs, the next tier down, some of the clubs that we know by name that maybe host tournaments that are private clubs, they could do this in a heartbeat, make themselves an extra maybe 150, 200, 300 grand a year and not inconvenience anything, not hurt the golf course, not take up a lot of time. So I think it's something that might be a trend that we're going to see more and more, Carlos.
It definitely seems like a very good idea. And like you're saying, I don't see them inconveniencing their membership at all if they do that. They have the means and the ways to do it. And at the same time, you're just getting even more popularity. Yes, everybody knows those big golf clubs and courses, but how about trying to do something to enhance your membership? And maybe that's a way to attract more membership as well. So definitely, I think it could be a trend moving forward. And with that, we wrap up our practice range. And now we're going to close the show with our final putts. And Fred, I'm going to start talking about Charles Barkley because...
Do you want it for your partner? Is that what you want?
No, I'm going to leave Phil Mickelson to do that. But especially when he's guaranteeing a victory, because he and Phil Mickelson will be taking on Golden State Warriors star Stephen Curry and NFL legend Peyton Manning in the third rendition of the match. Turner Sports will televise Capital One's The Match, Champions for Change, exclusively on TNT. That's going to be Friday, November 27th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time at the Stone Canyon Golf Club in Oro Valley in Arizona. The competition format will be modified alternate shot match play with five-time major winners, Phil Mickelson teaming with Barkley and Naismith Memorial Hall of Famer. And that's what we have to do because golf, other than his famous swing, I don't know what to say about him. But anyway, he's going to be facing Stephen Curry and Peyton Manning in this latest edition. And the funny thing is that Barkley was saying, that he was excited to finally show off his skills on the course. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but that's what he said on Twitter. And he said, Phil and I got this. I guarantee. I don't know what they got. I imagine Phil had to go with Barkley because otherwise it would have been a runaway for Phil the way that he's playing. And he said, he tweeted afterwards, he said, I'm feeling pretty confident after my win that I'll even take Sir Charles as my partner to take these guys on. Only Phil would do that, Fred. I wouldn't do it, but that's what we're going to see. It's not going to be Tiger. It's only Phil. I don't know if how much, the TV audience will be, how they will attract some people, but to me, I'm not watching. Not even to see Charles Barkley miss some balls hitting off the tee or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not going to be at the top of my viewing list, that's for sure. But so a couple things. So you tell me it's modified Stableford. So that means all four guys hit their tee shots, right? So Phil still gets to drive, all right? So they don't have to take any of Charles' drives unless he would happen to connect with one and hit it really well. So the only thing, it's alternate shot. So Phil is going to have to play the second shot, he from wherever Charles hits it sometimes. And that could be anywhere. I mean, if Charles is hitting it in the water, it's tough to play out of there. If he's hitting it out of bounds, it's tough to play out of there. if he tops it and only hits it 50 yards, now you got a long shot into the green. Even everybody says, well, Phil's a pro and he's playing. Steph Curry and Peyton Manning are no slouches, right? And they're playing alternate shots. So again, they got to play each other's ball after the drive. So, I don't think it's going to be real pretty. Alternate shot is not a pretty golf format in the first place. So, and then you've got 3 amateurs and a pro. I don't know. Probably odds are still in Phil's favor, but I just don't think it's going to be that great to watch. Maybe if you're a real Peyton Manning fan or a Steph Curry fan, you just want to see them because of who they are. But I don't know. We'll see. Hey, Carlos, the Pinehurst Resort, Pinehurst in the news a lot lately. They're going to host the 2021 High School Golf National Invitational again. They did last year. It was a big success, and they're going to do that again. It's going to be in June for both. The girls are going to be June 23rd to the 25th, and the boys are going to be June 28th through the 30th. You've got also, I want to mention that our good friend Jim Dotson is now contributed for Global Golf Post. So if you like Jim's writing and if you've been wanting to see some of his stuff, he has a nice article, a nice story in this week's Global Golf Post. Look that up and check it out. Congratulations to Jim. Upper Deck announces that the long-awaited PGA Tour license trading cards are coming out. So if you want to get that, if you want to get that card of Hideki Matsuyama or Matthew Wolff, now's your chance, Carlos. I know you're kind of a tech nerd, and you might want to get some of those things. So now's your chance. Hey, Ohio Golf Journal, the October issue is out there. Michigan Golf Journal, the October issue is out there. A lot of good stuff in there. We're putting together November issues right now. We've got good video on Back Nine Report TV. Watch that. That's on the YouTube and on Roku. So, Carlos, we got it all. If it's golf, we got it for you some way, some shape or form. We got a lot of great golf travel. If you're thinking about doing some golf travel this winter, looking for places, I got a lot of stuff up on the TV channel. Interviews from Bandon Dunes, from Reynolds, from all over the place that you may want to consider going this winter.
Okay, with Back Niners, with that, we wrap up another week of the Back Nine Report. Thank you for joining us. It's always our pleasure to bring you the latest on the world of golf. Special thanks to our VIG, very important guest of the week, Tommy Moore, Director of Instruction at Firestone. Don't forget to see us again next week on YouTube, or if you miss it, check it, the audio version on TuneIn. If you haven't done so, follow the show on Twitter. Our ID is @Back9Report. The number 9 is in the middle. My name is Carlos Torres, along with Altvater. We wish you to be happy, be blessed, and enjoy the great game of golf. Happy golfing, everybody.
I hope we see you on the Back Nine.